we're started officially.
I had a full head of hair when we started this tonight.
Yes, and only 15 minutes late. I gotta love technology. So, welcome to Three Do Who, the monthly Doctor Who podcast, where we talk about all things Doctor Who and ask the really important questions like, how do you tell a baby Santaran from a potato? No, really, I just want to know.
I don't know.
Simple. You dip it in hot water, and if it tastes awful, it's a potato.
With me today are my favorite Time Lords. Mike, how many Santarans have you eaten?
Well, there was that. Anyway, let's just move on from that. The glory hole incident is behind me. I thought I'd misunderstood the probic vents function, and anyway.
Oh, God. The probic vent. Could they have named that any better? Anyways, with me today are my two favorite Time Lords, Mike and James. How are you two doing today?
Well, it's been a challenge to get this thing going today.
Yes, I have no idea what the heck is going on with Riverside and why it's being the way it's being.
But only for you.
Yeah, normally it's me that it doesn't like.
Yeah, only for me. It's crazy.
I'm fine. I am surrounded, by the way, with literally a couple of dozen things for later on for in the Who Knows bit.
Very nice.
Yeah. So I was on the verge of killing you for if you'd like cancel the session. I was like, I've spent hours taking these books off the shelves.
I wouldn't make you do that.
Nah.
I wouldn't make you do that. I'd get on with my phone if I had to. So
yeah.
Anyways, let's roll into some Who news. There's not a lot, but there are some.
No, I've updated it.
Oh, that's right. You've updated it. So
there's big. There's big,
okay.
big.
Oh, yeah. No, I've scrolled down far enough to see that. Okay. Well, I've got one little piece of news then, and then James can take over.
Okay.
So, anybody who knows myself and Mike and probably James too, even though he's loath to admit it, we do kind of love Star Trek.
We love Ethan Peck's pectorals.
Oh God. The best part about Strange New Worlds is every season they find a reason for Spock to be shirtless, and that's what's brought me back. I mean, the stories are good too, but pecs are.
Yes.
And of course, we know he's going to continue on with the series when Kirk takes over because he has to.
And then we'll see Kirk shirtless all the time too, because it's tradition. So, anybody who's been watching Strange New Worlds will know that there have been a couple of little Doctor Who crossover Easter eggs. One that James pointed out to me that I almost missed completely was a little teeny tiny TARDIS behind the Enterprise in the episode "The Salat Who Ate Its Tail."
It took me forever to be able to find that image, but I found it.
Yeah, it is really, really tiny. It's very subtle.
Mm-hmm.
It's the science fiction equivalent of Where's Waldo.
Yes.
And I even translated that into American for you.
So the teeny tiny TARDIS wasn't the only thing. In the very last episode of Strange New Worlds, Pelia, who's played by the magnificent Carol Kane, and is like one of my favorite characters on the series ever. She, as she's drinking and getting a little tipsy, she she lets slip that, remind me to tell you about that time I spent with the traveling doctor I once knew.
Mm-hmm.
She quickly like corrects herself.
Now I want to go back and see if there's any other Easter eggs, because I did some research on it, and the producers said there's about 15 to 20 throughout the series.
Yeah.
What, of Doctor Who ones or just general?
No, Doctor Who Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The producer actually had said, Akiva Goldsman jokingly said they can't confirm or deny those Doctor Who references. However, he added on a more serious note, we've always dreamed of a crossover. We even talked about a crossover. I think if it were up to Russell T Davies and us, it would have been a real thing. I think there are too many corporations involved, but there are love letters that go back and forth.
Oh,
Yeah. So I really enjoy the little crossovers, even though we can't get a full crossover.
although there has
Uh,
been one in graphic novel form.
oh well, I mean
There's
there.
been a Doctor Who and Next Gen crossover in graphic novel.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Mm.
Next Gen and X-Men have crossed over too. So
Mm.
that was actually a very fun book.
Hmm.
If you ever get a chance to try and find it, it's um, the X-Men Star Trek Next Generation crossover. Really good. It's your turn, James.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got two bits. One low key, one really huge.
Okay.
So the low key one, um, basically, we know that season 13, Tom Baker's second series, is coming out on Blu-ray. The release date is supposedly this month. I can't remember because every time I get an email, it says, "Oh yeah, we've changed the date." But unlike in the olden days of VHS, they are notorious for keeping things close to their chest about which box sets are coming out in which order. However, within the last week, a few photos have emerged of filming for a season 21 box set. And basically, they spotted Peter Davison, Janet Fielding, and the police box in exactly the same location as it was in season 21's Resurrection of the Daleks. It's not guaranteed that that's the next one, but they are running out of color seasons to release. Basically, once season 13 is out, we have season 16, which is the Key to Time season, which will tie in with what we've got tonight. There is season 21, which is Peter Davison's final season. There is season 11, which is John Pertwee's final season. That's going to be an interesting one because there are technical issues with one of the stories about whether or not they can get it to a decent quality.
Oh, okay.
And that is basically it. We are really running out. And we've always wondered, why have they been holding off on the black and white ones? They did one a few years ago. They did season 2. And they've always said, oh, yeah, we're working on it. Yeah. And there has been a vaguely official announcement. Okay. Now, there are always rumors about missing episodes. So 99% of the time, you can say, yeah, well, this is just a rumor. It's complete bollocks, whatever. And it has been a very long time since missing episodes came back. However, there is an organization in the UK called Film is Fabulous, which has recently got charitable status, so they can actually get funding from the government. And what they're doing is they are helping private collectors catalog, return, preserve, their collections and stuff.
Right.
And basically, they have said that they hope to be able to make a announcement, a statement or whatever about Doctor Who missing episodes soon. Okay. Now, we don't know what soon means in this case. Without wishing to piss people off, as it were, everyone knows that there are missing episodes out there in the hands of private collectors. For whatever reason, these private collectors have always been very hesitant to return or even admit what they've got. So for Film is Fabulous to be able to make an official announcement that they're going to be able to say something soon is a big thing.
Okay.
And I know as Doctor Who fans, we moan massively. I say, oh, why did they burn them? Where are you? I don't think Doctor Who fans who are only Doctor Who fans know how lucky we actually are. Okay? Because also in this announcement, they have said that there is the possibility of a season 1 episode of the British spy series, The Avengers. Okay.
Wow.
Now, out of that first season, only 3 are a bit unknown to exist. And unlike Doctor Who, not only do we not have soundtrack recordings for all of the episodes, unlike Doctor Who, for that first season, we don't even have a large number of photographs for all the episodes.
Oh, wow.
And for at least a couple of them, we literally, because we don't even have the scripts for them anymore, we have the TV guide synopses for them, and that is about it.
Wow.
That's not a lot.
So for them to say that there is the possibility of a season 1 Avengers episode, it's like, oh my god.
What closet did you find that in?
Yeah. So yeah, there is potential, but it does raise the question, because I don't know, we've got the animations on Blu-ray and everything. Then they've not indicated that it's a major episode coming back, or 2 episodes coming back. But which episodes would you like it to be? Any preferences?
I really don't have any preferences. I mean, it's been a while since I watched the whole run of the old stuff. So, I mean, I can't even think which ones were missing.
Yeah. Because it generated a lot of discussion, because whilst there are episodes that are important that are missing, like 10th Planet episode 4,
right,
we have a full set of screen grabs for that. We have some amateur cine footage where someone literally pointed the cine camera at the TV screen and recorded it. So we have lots of stuff for it. There are other stories where there's a Patrick Troughton one called The Space Pirates. It's like, we have 1 episode out of the 6 existing that we don't have screenshots, we don't have set photos, we don't even have photos of the actors in costume for some of the characters.
right.
So, there's a lot of debate, discussion about which would be the best ones to come back. There's 2 that I'm desperate for. Okay.
Which 2?
Okay, so these are going to shock some people, because I don't want the really common ones. I say, Power of the Daleks one, we've got loads of stuff. So, not the world's greatest story, but The Underwater Menace. The animation is out on Blu-ray, and on DVD. Episode 4 doesn't exist, and episode 4 is the one that features the flooding of Atlantis. We have a couple of literally 2 or 3 second long clips of one of the characters drowning. Because basically Australia edited it out because they felt it was too harrowing. And in the world's greatest piss take, we have the stuff that they edited out. We no longer have the episode they edited out from. So I've always wanted to see Underwater Menace episode 4 to see how they did the flooding.
Right.
And the other one, I just want to see how bad it looks. There's a story called The Macra Terror, again, available as an animation, but they took a lot of liberties with it. In the animation, there are 3 or 4 of the giant macra creatures on screen at various times and everything. For the real episode, they managed to make one prop, which was so cumbersome it had to be moved into place on the back of a van.
Oh, geez.
And again, we have a couple of clips of it in action because of the Australian censors.
Wow.
But I want to see episode 3, where basically it allegedly picked up one of the characters by their foot and held them up. And it's just like, what the... Yeah. And there is another really, really malicious reason why I'm desperate for these episodes to come back. I'm not going to name any names, because they get terribly pissed off, and there's a lot of them now. People have started using AI to try and make reconstructions of the episodes. And one person, who say she'll remain anonymous, never stops boasting about how authentic and how they are as close as we can possibly make them to the original episodes. They're fucking not. So I want the
terrible.
Yeah, one. I just want I want whichever episode comes back, I want it on one side of the screen, one of these AI recons on the other side, and people to just sit there and piss themselves with laughter. Sorry, that's very cruel of me. But yeah, so we don't know what soon means, but it means that kind of, in coming months, it might be that they held off on the black and white box sets because they were hopeful to get one of these episodes on the DVDs and Blu-rays.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. Right. Would you like to introduce tonight's topic?
Yes, tonight we're going to be talking about Romana.
Romana Varatnalunda.
That guy. Yeah.
Yes,
Girl.
girl.
Hey, no.
Well,
They're Time Lord. They're gender
Yeah.
neutral.
anybody. Yes. So
I have a story about Romana that proves that she's definitely not gender neutral in one instance.
so Romana, short for, as you heard,
Romana Varatnalunda.
Vatralunda, yes, or Fred, because
Fred.
She preferred Fred, yes.
preferred Fred to Romana because she likes her whole name or something entirely different.
Yeah.
But she's a time lady who is a companion to the Fourth Doctor. Romana was played by two actresses, first by Mary Tam and then by Lalla Ward after her regeneration. And I'm sure that James will be covering the third and fourth incarnations because
God.
I know how he does.
James
So
had a nervous breakdown for this one.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine.
Well,
I'm
thank
just
you,
gonna
Douglas Adams.
Yes, I'm going to cover Romana 1 and 2. So the White Garden originally assigns Romana to assist the Doctor in the quest for the key to time, a series of linked serials which constitute the whole of season 16. Romana first appears in the Ribos operation and was intended as a contrast to her predecessor, the Savage Leela. Romana initially was arrogant and dismissive of the Doctor and soon comes to respect his experience and adventurous spirit. So Romana's character evolved into a damsel in distress in season 16, prompting Tam's departure. At least that's one of the many conjectures of why she left.
Which is funny because that's what the Doctor said when the Guardian gave her to him. He's
Yeah.
like, I don't want a damsel in distress that I have to keep saving.
Right. I mean, she wasn't that way at the start, and
No.
they kind of quickly just pushed her into that. Oh, she's in trouble again.
Yeah, that was the trope of the day.
Yeah, it kind of was.
Yes.
So Romana regenerated in season 17 with a new appearance and a lighter personality. Romana's second regeneration, depicted at the beginning of Destiny of the Daleks, is notable point of contention among some fans. Well, pretty much all fans if they're fans of it. While the script is credited to Terry Nation, script editor Douglas Adams incorporated several humorous additions and alterations. The scene portrays Romana trying on various bodily forms, like different outfits, before settling on the appearance of Princess Astra, a character previously played by Lalla Ward in The Armageddon Factor, season 16. Which was something of an odd choice. I think, Romana was a little pissed that they left Princess Astra behind, and she was. I think she did it mainly to. My theory is she did it to torture the Doctor. The lighthearted approach to regeneration really contrasts sharply with most other portrayals, which typically present it as traumatic, emotionally or physically agonizing experience. To reconcile this inconsistency, licensed spin-off media such as the Short Trips story, The Lying Old Witch in the Wardrobe, have offered explanations suggesting that the TARDIS might have influenced Romana's regeneration, and I don't know about that. That one seems kind of weird. I read it.
It's a fun story. It suggests that it isn't even Romana that we see regenerating.
Right. That it's the TARDIS pretending to be her.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I don't know. TARDIS does get jealous sometimes, so I don't know. But it's a weird little side trip, but it's interesting. So at the end of the series, Meglos, Romana receives word from the Time Lords that she is being recalled to Gallifrey. The opening of the next serial, Full Circle, makes it clear that having traveled with the Doctor, she no longer desires to return home. Before the issue can be resolved, the TARDIS falls through a charged vacuum emboitment and disappears into another universe known as E-Space. Her final television appearance was in 1981 story Warriors Gate, where along with K9 she leaves to forge her own path in E-space when faced with the choice of remaining there or returning to Gallifrey. She also appears briefly in the 20th anniversary special, The Five Doctors, though through the reuse of footage from an uncompleted 1979 story Shada, as Tom Baker declined to appear in the special. So that's a brief history of Romana 1 and 2. I have to say, I really kind of liked Romana 1 when she was sassy. Her cold put downs of the Doctor and his just like reactions were just so much fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they started making her damsel in distress, it was kind of like, she's just another companion. This is a time lady. She's supposed to be his equal.
Actually, she's supposed to be his better because she graduated with 3 firsts.
Yeah, true. Firsts. But yeah, the Doctor was like, three firsts. Is that all? No.
Whereas he scraped through with 51% on his second attempt.
Right.
Yes.
So I think when they changed Romana to she was a better fit for that role. So the actress was a lot more. She was a better fit in that role. I think she as a more friendly, damsel in distress. Yeah.
I think it's because they probably couldn't portray strong women on TV back then.
Yeah, it seems like
you say that. But I mean, you've just had Leela, who was a savage.
Yeah, no, Leela was quite strong.
Well, and in America at the time, you've got bloody Wonder Woman on TV.
True.
It's actually the 80s where things get really sort of kind of bad for that. The 70s, you look at some, and the 60s as well. The Avengers, Emma Peel and Kathy Gale.
Yeah.
Lindsay Wagner is the Bionic Woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very strong character. Yeah. I mean, it just seems like Doctor Who
was behind the times.
Really was behind the times with this because they had a strong woman for a while, and I think that they were probably like this. We need to dial this back some.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a shame because Mary Tam was really good the first few episodes before they started making her a little less intelligent, less able to keep up with the Doctor,
to keep up on her own and do her own thing.
Yeah.
In preparation for this, I watched the whole of season 16.
Nice.
Now, to be fair, I fast forwarded through all the stuff that didn't have Romana in it.
Right.
So doing that, it was interesting because you really get to see the character development because you're just taking those clips and watching it. And it's just like watching a decline of just down, down. And, I don't think that Tom and Tam had a lot of big on-screen. They had the on-screen chemistry was just meh. So I kind of wonder if their behind-the-scenes friendship and working relationship was kind of meh.
Apparently, it was actually quite good. Tom was going through a difficult patch, though. Tom had actually been injured for some of the filming. So if you actually look at some of the publicity shots for, I think it's Pirate Planet, he's got whacking great sticking plaster all over his mouth because he'd been savaged by a dog. So it's a bit kind of, if he's kind of ill and high on painkillers. And say even later on, Tom became very ill during season 18. You can see how ill he is. So I don't think it was Mary Tam. I think it was just like kind of general stuff that was going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the first time I noticed that Tom Baker has a tell. So when somebody drops their line or doesn't give their line, he gives this little forward thing to the actor. Like,
of all the people to complain about not having the actor give the line.
I've watched a bunch of the outtakes from Tom Baker, and he's
the one who used to he's the one who used to turn up at rehearsals, skim through the script, tear out all the pages that he wasn't on, and say it's a pretty thin script this week, isn't it?
All right. But that's my take on Romana. Great companion. It's a maybe not. I don't know.
I mean, it's a difficult era as well. Season 16 is usually was being highly regarded as an experimental season and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And although these days season 17 is highly regarded, in the 80s it definitely wasn't. So this is an issue of Files magazine Spotlight on Doctor Who. Okay. This is an 80s publication. It's done by one of the Uber fans of the time called John Peel. Highs came with the first season, 5th season, 10th season, and 13th and 18th and 19th season. The lows were the 3rd, 11th, 15th, and worst of them all, the 17th. The 17th season is without peer in the show, filled with badly written, badly acted, and badly produced shows. And that's when after that, he starts to get mean about it.
Oh,
Jesus.
It has undergone a renaissance these days, season 17, because modern Doctor Who fans have a sense of fun. It's actually seen as really bloody good. And yeah, at the time, it's an interesting one because actually in season 17, the story Creature from the Pit was written for Mary Tamm's Romana. But of course, Lalla Ward, Lalla Ward ended up playing it there. So it's very interesting seeing her deliver Mary Tam style lines, but with her delivery. And it's like,
right.
Romana has bizarrely, given that, say, season 17 was, slated, always been a very big part of Doctor Who. And the idea of, Romana's a time lady and can regenerate. Okay, you've already mentioned the short trips. There are loads of short stories featuring Romana. And in the wilderness years, before Big Finish are on the scene, even then we start to get into kind of, strange territory. So, latter part of the 90s, the BBC have taken over the book ranges. They're doing 8 Doctor novels, which I covered last month. But they're also doing past Doctor ones, such as this one, The Festival of Death. And if you think that time travel shenanigans are a new innovation, no, this is one of the best time travel weirdness books for Doctor Who. It's the 4th Doctor, Romana, and K9. All I will say is you'll read it through, but you won't be reading it in the order that any of the characters experience it in. It is absolutely bonkers. And Jonathan Morris, who wrote it, has also gone on to do a whole batch of 4th Doctor and Romana audios. Tom and Lalla in the same recording studio without the police being called. That was impressive. I mean, it's they got married. Tom and Lalla got married. God knows why. I don't think even they know why.
I think if we go back to that Dead Ringers skit where he says, "Oh, those were a couple of tasty crumpets."
And I think it's in the American commentary for one of the Key to Time stories where Tom is doing the commentary, and basically he goes quiet at one point when Mary Tam is on screen, and there's this pause. He goes, "Oh, she was lovely, wasn't she?" And so there's a whole load of wilderness era stuff, the books that were set during her time. Where things get really complicated is where the wilderness era decides to pick the story up from. Right. Okay. And this is why I really wish I hadn't even begun to think about Romana's 3 and 4. 5, 6, or something. Right.
Right.
Okay, so first off is this one, Blood Harvest.
Ooh.
And by the time this goes out, this will be on my YouTube channel, so people can actually find out what the hell I'm about to talk about. And for those who are listening, I'm so sorry about my Chicago accent, about my Scottish accent, my Irish accent, my English accent.
The Irish one wasn't bad.
Yeah. Right. This is actually a really strange book. Because it is book one of a two-part story. Okay.
Mhm.
This book, book one, features the Seventh Doctor,
Okay.
and the story is then continued in a Fifth Doctor book called Goth Opera.
Okay.
Yeah. Goth Opera is available as a drama from Big Finish. That's why I will not be doing it as a talking book or anything. But as I say, they haven't done this one as the drama. And yeah, this details how Romana came back from E-Space.
Mm.
Okay. And through processes which I will not go into, she becomes president of Gallifrey.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is now where it gets really complicated. Because this was pre-McGann.
Mhm.
Okay. The BBC then took over the range, and in their first story, The Eight Doctors, this book is basically massively contradicted. Yeah. And Gallifrey gets a whole different set of presidents, and it's really confusing. And then BBV, who did the very definitely not Doctor Who audios with the Professor and Ace as Sylvester McCoy, they also did two with Lalla Ward and John Leeson as the voice of K9. Lalla Ward just played the Mistress.
Mm.
You know, and that gives a totally different story of how the Mistress came to leave E-Space.
Mm.
Right. Big Finish then start doing the official Doctor Who stories. And for the Eighth Doctor, Lalla Ward turns up in two of the really important ones, Neverland and Zagreus.
Okay.
She also, though, turns up in a Sixth Doctor story called The Apocalypse Element. And it's heavily implied that they meet out of order.
Oh.
Because Romana says, I wasn't expecting you, and Colin Baker's Doctor says something along the lines of, you're expecting me, just not this me.
Mm.
You know, and yeah, Romana is president of Gallifrey, has to make some very difficult decisions. And they really like working with Lalla Ward. I mean, they get on very well. She loves doing them. They then launch a new range called the Companion Chronicles, which are kind of one disc, two voice type things. Lalla Ward does one of the first four of them. She's one of their first people that they go to get to do them. She does a couple of them. Mary Tam, she is the only one who does a Companion Chronicle solo. You know, it was, rather than gets a second voice in, she does the whole story as Romana, an entire CD story as Romana. And then they say, oh, we need a new spin-off range. Tell you what, we'll start doing some stories set on Gallifrey. Because although Zagreus wasn't particularly well received, it did set up an interesting dynamic for the presidential office on Gallifrey. Because basically, Leela is on Gallifrey, Romana is on Gallifrey, and both Leela and Romana have a K9 each.
Okay.
Well, that does explain. I've got a piece of artwork on the wall that has both the canines together, along with all of the Doctor's
Right.
the Fourth Doctor's companions.
Mm-hmm.
Whilst Big Finish are doing their Gallifrey, there is another past Doctor adventure called The Tomb of Valdemar, which is Fourth Doctor and Romana.
Okay.
But it's also revealed that there is a third incarnation of Romana in that story. Okay. 50th anniversary comes along, and they do a set of 3 companion chronicles which link together to form a bigger story. It had been intended that Mary Tam would be in the third one as the first incarnation of Romana. She sadly had passed away by this point. So there was a new third incarnation of Romana telling the story. That's why I said I wish you hadn't mentioned this. There are also, though, a large number of full cast audios with the Fourth Doctor and Romana. What I would say, though, is check the cast list carefully. If you see David Warner in the cast list, it means it's part of a bigger arc that spans both Romanas. In other words, they're not standalone stories. And yeah, the Big Finish website, because they were a little bit naughty when they started doing the Fourth Doctor adventures, they forgot to tell people when things were 2-part stories. And so basically you listen to the first 2 episodes and suddenly it's like, oh, this ends on a cliffhanger. Oh, I'm going to have to buy, But the website now does make it clear which are the 2 release stories. There are some brilliant ones. They managed to get 1 season done with Mary Tam before she passed away. And there's a whole load. Season 17 style, where it's just Tom and Romana. They've got K9 in them, and then they've even done some E-Space ones with Adric as well, which quite frankly was when Doctor Who fandom said, shit, hell has frozen over. We've got Tom, Lalla, and Matthew, and John in one story.
Right?
Yeah. And then Gallifrey is going along really nicely. Spanner in the works. Russell T Davies does that really unpleasant thing of reviving the show.
Right.
Yeah. And because he introduces the Time War, they've got to kind of say, well, actually, yeah, your Gallifrey range, could you kind of start,
winding it down. Yeah.
Not winding it down. Oh, good Lord, fucking no. There are now so many Time War box sets.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. You've got the War Master, you've got the War Doctor, you've got Gallifrey War Room, you've got Time War, you've got Susan's War. It's basically like a huge sub-universe of Doctor Who drama is this kind of, this massive range now set within. And yeah, Lulla Ward is the President Romana up to about the 7th or 8th box set release. But then, yeah, other Romanas take over, and it starts off as very kind of West Wing politics style, but then, yeah, because the Time War comes along, they have to, change things up a little.
Okay.
But the really irritating thing, though, is this did it first, this did it really well, and then, of course, BBC and Big Finish did their own takes on it and changed it. By the way, this is written by a guy called Terence Dix, who I think I mentioned a couple of episodes ago as having written the TV novelizations. Gives me an excuse to say this is very kind of a tale of two cities.
Oh.
It is the best of Dix and it is the worst of Dix. It is part standalone story, part sequel to State of Decay, part sequel to The Five Doctors, part setting up of the second half of the Virgin New Adventures range. It is just, and yeah, unusually for Terence Dix, there are a couple of scenes of really unpleasant violence and one scene of attempted sexual assault. So just be warned, if you do listen to it, there'll be a link in the thing. but there are a couple of really unpleasant scenes in it, which
Mhm.
I had forgotten about until I turned the page and thought,
See.
"Oh my fucking god!"
I've got to say this now.
Yay!
Yeah. Ooh.
Mm.
Very fun.
Yeah. And do not ask me what order to listen to the Time War stuff in, because it's not even all released in chronological order. It goes all over the place with different sub-ranges, and quite frankly, I am waiting for someone to write me a guide as to how to re-listen to it.
I have just kind of given up on trying to watch, read, listen to Doctor Who in any kind of logical order. I think just jump in where you can, and eventually everything will come together.
I think with the audios, the main range when they were doing it, a lot of those were standalone. It was very easy to jump into them.
Yeah.
There are, some ranges where it is going to be very difficult to work out where to even bloody begin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Any more on Romana?
Not that I can think of.
So before we move on to the big stack of stuff here, the Lulla Ward story. Okay. She didn't really stay in acting that much. I mean, Big Finish has revived her as an audio actress and
Right.
everything.
Yeah.
She was actually she wanted to do illustration work and everything like that. She's illustrated various books, but she did do a couple of films, including one where her character was seen naked. Okay. However,
Gasp.
Lulla Ward did not do those scenes.
Mm.
So she actually had to go to court and prove somehow that it was not her doing that particular lady part with the lady parts, that it was actually her double. Because a lot of people were posting pictures on the newly formed internet claiming to show Romana's
Lady parts. Yes.
lady parts, yes. And I got through that without the expression "bigger on the inside." Excellent. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Part 3 of the 3-part look at ranges of Doctor Who fiction. Okay.
Mhm.
And then actually we are going to come back to your comment about diving in at the end. Right.
Okay.
So in part 1, which was a few episodes ago, I talked about the television novelizations. Part 2 was all about wilderness years and stuff. So 20 years worth of New Who. Okay. And you would, you look at the world and you think, yeah, but people don't read books anymore. People don't read anymore. There's not going to be that much fiction, is there?
No,
Right.
that's wrong.
Yeah.
People
Okay.
do read still.
And we're going to
Everyone
end, by the way, we're going to end with coming back to the beginning again by complete and utter chance. Right. So first off,
It is a disruption.
yeah. In terms of kind of when things started, during the Eccleston years, there were the Eccleston year singular.
Yes.
There were actually 6 standalone novels produced. First 3 are Doctor and Rose. The second batch of 3 also features Captain Jack. Yeah. And then when the 10th Doctor comes along, you get something like 9 books with Rose as the companion. There's about a dozen with Martha as the companion. You get a whole load with Donna as the companion. Then you get a whole load, and this is just the 10th Doctor, whole load where he's traveling solo. Seriously, in that first kind of, that golden era of Tennant and various companions, Doctor Who fiction absolutely exploded. So anyone who thinks, there's no Doctor Who and I've seen it all, seriously, there are literally a few hundred books that you can read. And, whilst this was going on, of course, DWM continued with the comic strip. the Ninth Doctor comics, there's only about 5 or 6 of them. Believe it or not, they've been published as compilations 3 bloody times now. They published them as a magazine special because they thought, we can never get a graphic collections. Then when they started doing the kind of the bound ranges, they then did it. And then when you subscribed to something called Doctor Who: The Complete History, they also did hardbacked special editions of the comic strips, including a volume containing all the Ninth Doctor comic strips. His comic strips have been done almost as many times as Genesis of the Daleks has been released. Okay, right. So, you'd think that kind of, we'll make do with that. Well, this is Doctor Who, okay? And I have got to say, one of the things I love about Doctor Who, especially the expanded universe, is that there is stuff for everyone. Okay? So, on my collection of things I've pulled out as of interest, and again, this isn't going to be comprehensive by any stretch of the imagination. First off, there were about 15 of these things produced. The Doctor Who files, not the same as the Doctor Who files that I read from earlier. These are themed little mini hardbacks aimed at young kids, giving you the history of, the Daleks or whatever. But in each one of them, along with making sure you've been paying attention, so with, if I can get it to fold out, multiple choice quizzes as you go through the book, each one of them also has a short piece of easy-to-read fiction in it. Mission to Galacton, and, nice largish print, pictures, So, yeah, they had stuff aimed at really young kids. Okay? For your more kind of mature-ish audience, you then also had, we'll do this one next, the quick reads. This was actually a national initiative that Doctor Who was part of. They were $1.99 each. Okay, there's only about 6 or 7 of them, but again, they're kind of reasonably largish print. But they are a complete story in. Well, this one is about 100 pages, and say they cover the 10th and 11th Doctors. Okay, if you want to kind of have a book that you can get more than one read out of, there were also 12 10th Doctor, Decide Your Destiny, because they obviously couldn't afford to copyright for Choose Your Own Adventure. 12 of these, and some of them have got really good sounding titles like The Howling of Horror Hill, or you can have the one called The Time Crocodile. Anyway, moving swiftly on. They were so popular, by the way, that you then had an 11th Doctor range of them, and there is a 12th Doctor range of them, and this is why my bookcases are rapidly collapsing, by the way. Even I have had to go over to digital copies of some things because I just cannot. When RTD left, things did change. There were far fewer of the books, the hardback ones. This, by the way, is a really good one. I loved this one, Nuclear Time. They are slightly shorter than the books published during the RTD years. They are slightly easier read type things, but they are still very worth it. I actually prefer these to the TV episodes. This one in particular features a massive giant explosion which forces the Doctor to travel back along his own timeline to try and prevent things from collapsing. And this was released before the Pandorica and the Big Bang, when the Doctor suffers from a massive explosion and travels back along his... Anyway. Jodie got a batch. There's ones for Capaldi, for Shooty. Most of them are in audiobook form of one description or another. The early 10th Doctor ones were only released as abridged audio readings, but then they changed to full unabridged ones. The 9th Doctor ones have been done as unabridged, and all 11th ones are unabridged. There are 3 12th Doctor books, though, that never came out as audiobooks. Don't know why. No one knows why. The quick reads range ended, but they experimented with this format. And you'd think, oh, that's not a quick read. This is actually 2 novellas in one.
Okay.
And if I show you the print size again, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty big print.
Yeah. They're great fun. They are perfect if you've got, a teenager in your life who you are trying to get to read, sort of thing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, even I love a good short story.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and say,
they're fun.
they are great fun. There's one, for example, where the 11th Doctor, Rory and Amy jeopardize the fate of the universe by getting involved with a football match. Right.
Why not?
During that time, though, they, for some reason, and I genuinely do not know why, started releasing things like this, which are essentially standalone 11th Doctor novels, just done in a posher format with dust jackets and,
Can charge more that way.
Yeah, you can charge more. There's another one. Dan Abnett wrote "The Silent Stars Go By" with the Ice Warriors. Yeah. There's a whole load of them. The War Doctor got his own novel.
Yes.
And again, these are all available as audiobooks. And then they realised that there were some people who didn't like the new series, so they started doing the equivalent of Festival of Death kind of thing, Past Doctor Adventures. There's a whole handful of those as well. Really chunky. I think the audiobook of Harvest of Time lasts 12 hours or something. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. If you want something shorter, though, because we're not size queens here.
No, not at all.
Once Moffat took over, there were a proliferation of short story anthologies.
Okay.
This is one that gets churned out every so often. It started off as 11 stories for 11 Doctors. It was the 50th anniversary one. Then when Capaldi took over, they basically reprinted this, but put an extra story on.
Mm-hmm.
We're now on 15 stories for 15 Doctors.
There you go.
Yeah. But you also find, if I can just grab them, they did, for example, some spin-off short stories featuring the Paternoster Gang, Amelia Pond, stuff like that. Matt Smith's last story, the time of the Doctor, not my favourite finale, but they then did this collection of 4 short stories set during it. This is a much better read than the episode was to watch. Yeah. Right.
Which can happen a lot.
Yeah. If you are, again, there was various things like this. The storybook, which accompanied the annual, they took the fiction out of the annual and started doing short stories in a hardback thing. There's 4 or 5 of those. And then in more recent times, they've started doing mini ranges. So, for example, you've got the Icons range, very thin, slim reads, but so you've got Charles Darwin and the Silurian Survival. You've got the mashup range, where you've got things like this, Doctor Who in Wonderland. There's also with Frankenstein, with Dracula, Treasure Island. Yeah.
Yes.
And I've got to say, Chris Chibnall, no matter what you think of him as a showrunner for the TV,
right,
he really let loose on the book range before the BBC stamped on things.
Right.
He even went back to things like this, the Team TARDIS Diaries, which are, aimed at really getting young kids into reading.
Right.
I reckon, genuinely, that there is not a single person out there who will have read all the official fiction and can remember it. Because, when I was doing the talking book for Blood Harvest, I had forgotten, for example, the scene where two people have their brains bashed out with a baseball bat. And no, it is not Ace that does it. Yeah. So, to bring things full circle before a coda, we're now back into Target days. They have started novelizing the new series episodes.
Okay.
They, just as the original Targets, they vary massively. So Rose, for example, 50-minute episode, and that's 197 pages. Christmas Invasion, I think, is another one of the... Yeah, that's kind of 170. Wild Blue Yonder. Once we get into RTD2, they change to a blue cover. This is only 160 pages again for a special. But you then get things like The Day of the Doctor, which is 232 pages of small print. The talking book for the 70-minute episode is about 8 hours long.
Wow.
And I thought that was going to be it. By the time this comes out, a new range of books will have started.
Okay.
Big Finish have started novelizing some of their stories. No one knows if this is going to be a regular thing or just a couple of specials. The first two are due out in October. They are the Paul McGann work of genius, which is The Chimes of Midnight. And curiously, they are doing a book of Jubilee. So, Jubilee starts as an audio, written by Rob Shearman. Rob Shearman then reworks it into the TV episode Dalek. Rob Shearman then expands the TV episode based on the audio into Dalek, the novel. And when Jubilee comes out, we are going to have the book of the audio that was adapted into the TV episode that was expanded into the book.
Brothers, cousins, sisters.
Right, yeah.
Right. So, as you can see, as Eric said, there is... How do you know where to start? So, what I thought we would do for the next couple of months, okay? I'm going to ask you, right, pick a genre or a theme or something. So, Eric, what if I were to put together a Doctor Who playlist, of expanded universe and classic episodes and stuff, I'm going to you first, just so that you get the chance to get it out of your system. What would you like the theme, as it were, to be?
I don't know. It's hard to choose. My gosh.
Yeah.
There's so much.
There's so much.
Yeah.
I really like the Cybermen. I would really like to see like a whole Cyberman range. Yeah.
Okay. So, for next month, I'll do you a Cybermen. Here's what I would recommend. I'm not going to say, by the way, I'm going to choose the best ones because best is very subjective.
Yeah.
But you will get a Cyberman playlist. Okay. And Mike, what would you like?
Oh. Well, okay. When you mentioned this, I wrote down a whole bunch of ideas.
I thought you would, yeah.
And now I'm thinking, oh God, okay. How about Evolution of the TARDIS?
Oh, a TARDIS playlist. Brilliant choice.
Yeah. That's a good choice too, yeah.
And so, that leaves me to go with, what the hell? I'm gonna do the gay one, the gay list.
Okay.
Okay.
And the idea will be that basically, if we do this for a couple of episodes, 2 or 3 episodes, that will give us a range of about 9 or 10 playlists of themed books, audios, TV episodes, or whatever, as a way for people to get into things.
Yeah, to figure out where to jump in.
To jump in. And yeah, I'll try and make them so they're fairly newbie friendly.
Right.
And yeah, in future ones, I'm thinking kind of like things like horror playlists or comedy playlists, historical playlists, futuristic playlists, weird shit playlists, you know. But yeah, Cybermen, TARDIS, and Gay List.
Okay.
And believe me, this is going to be. I love those as playlists, by the way. This is going to be fantastic because, yeah, already my mind is going, I know exactly where to start the TARDIS one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very nice.
Right.
Well, that brings us to the close of season 2 of Three Do Who. So,
Wow, really?
Next month is the beginning of our season 3.
Wow, I didn't realize
So,
we've been doing
what
it
would
that
you
long.
like for the topic?
So I think to start season 3 off, and since this is, this month is Halloween and everything, I think we're gonna go with one of my favorite scary Doctor Who villains, the Master.
Oh, okay.
No. Bizarrely,
Yeah.
he's on. I'm not going to say which story or whatever. I might end up doing you a book for it then, because
Nice.
there is a long forgotten Doctor Who book featuring the Master that I've been meaning to revisit for years. So
Well,
yeah,
I love the Master. He's so diabolically just like evil.
Mm-hmm.
and it also
And
means that I will get to tell you the story about the actress who had to leave the room laughing, saying, "What do you mean his hair?"
all right.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on another journey through time and space with the Doctor. Remember, you can support the show by liking and subscribing on YouTube or subscribing on Buzzsprout for as little as $3 a month. You can send us an email at threedowho@gmail.com or a text from threedowho.buzzsprout.com. The link is at the top of every episode show notes. Please leave a way to contact us if you're going to use the Buzzsprout episode chat, because it doesn't tell us which episode you clicked on. It doesn't tell us who you are or any way to get back with you. So
No
kind
one's
of
used it yet anyway, so.
nobody has, but yeah,
If
it's
they
probably
did.
better if you just send it to threedowho@gmail.com. But the option is there if you have no other way to do it. So follow us on Bluesky, threedowho.bsky.social, or join us on Telegram group chat at threedowho. And that's it. We'll see you next season.
Bye.